up everyone, Jealous from Fitment Industries FI Garage, and welcome back to another episode of What Wheels Fit, where today we're going to be going over the Lexus IS300. Now, before we go ahead and get into it, don't forget to subscribe. Wheels, tires, and suspension, all available over at fitmentindustries.com. Anyway, first introduced as the Altezza back in the 90s in Japan and the IS200 in the European market, the IS300 is the four-door sedan powered by the infamous 2JZ GE engine. As a straight six four-door rear-wheel drive car, the IS300 was considered to be one of the head-to-head competitors when it came to the 3 Series BMWs of the time. And easy to see why they've become such a popular platform among many car enthusiasts. So let's talk about fitment. First off, we have the good old guaranteed fitment range of 16 inches to 20 inches in diameter for the wheels, and widths ranging from 6.5 to 9.5 inches, with offsets landing anywhere between plus 30 and plus 45. So if you're looking for a wheel setup for your IS300 and it falls within those limits, you're gonna be good to go. However, we don't just stop there. We're gonna take a look at some other types of wheel and tire setups from our fitment gallery to see what style and size wheels people are going to run on their IS300s. And we see different types of fitment as well that people can achieve with these cars. Up first, we'll take a look at some tucked fitment for the IS300. For the most part, we do see a pretty even amount of staggered and square setups with these cars. So we'll take a look at a few different examples. First off, we have a 1999 IS300 on some work wheels with an 18x8 plus 34 in the front with a 225/35 tire, and an 18x9 plus 38 with a 245/35 tire in the rear. All that sitting on some BC Racing coilovers. Now this example does have the fenders rolled to ensure that there's no rubbing or any other issues with this setup. Next up, we have a square setup 18x8 plus 30 AG M220s with a 215/40 tire setup on some Airlift Performance air suspension. From these and some other cars in the gallery, we can see that tucked fitment on these cars is going to require either a 17 or 18-inch wheel for the most part, and either an 8-inch wide wheel with an offset around plus 30 or above, or if you want to go with a 9-inch wide wheel, a bit higher of an offset and a smaller tire to get a little bit of stretch to make sure that everything is going to fit. The next fitment we're going to take a look at will be the flush or nearly flush fitment. This is going to be more of a functional style fitment for those who are looking at daily driving the car or doing any sort of performance driving and need that clearance. 17s and 18s again for the most part, and we see a bump in the width from 8 to 9 inches. That being said, we have our first example being a 17x9 plus 22 offset square setup on some Volk TE37s with some 255/40 tires. Now with this setup being more of aggressive with both offset and tire size, this car does have some modified fender liners and the fenders rolled and pulled just a little bit. Next, we have a 2002 on some MST wheels, 18x9.5 plus 35 square setup again with a 225/40 tire setup. We see the fender liners modified a bit to reduce the amount of rubbing with this setup. And then for those looking for a staggered setup, we have a 2004 on some ESR SR09s running an 18x8.5 plus 30 in the front and an 18x9.5 plus 22 in the rear. 225/40 for the front, 235/40 for the rear, all on some coilovers. And of course, once again, we see fenders rolled at the very minimum to keep everything from rubbing and not having any issues. And then our last type of fitment we're going to be going over for the IS300 is going to be the type of setups that are going to be like pushing the limits of what these cars can actually run. So first up, we have a 1999 on a square setup of work wheels, 18x9 plus 15. Now the width on this isn't necessarily the widest, but the lower offset helps push these wheels out towards the outside of the car and gives that nice flush look. Pair that with some air suspension and some 215/35 tires, and you get this example that we have here. Next up, we have yet another square setup on work wheels, shocker. This time running an 18x9.5 plus 15 with a 215/35 tire setup and some Airlift Performance air suspension on this one as well. So compared to the previous car we looked at, we have an extra 1/2 inch of wheel width to get that nice fender to lip fitment. And for the staggered folks out there, we have you covered here as well. For our last example of the day, we have a 2003 IS300 on some Adhan DS01s rocking a size of 18x9.5 plus 22 in the front and an 18x10.5 plus 22 in the rear. Now this has taken some extensive fender modifications to get these wheels to actually fit. Things like removing the fender liners and other plastic pieces, and of course, very minimum rolling and pulling those fenders. As far as the tire size, we're looking at a 215/35 in the front and a 225/40 tire size in the rear. So also a decent amount of stretch on this wheel and tire setup as well. With all that being said, we see the average being around an 18/9 plus 22 to plus 30 wheel. Usually ESRs work Adhan or something with a directional or maybe even a split spoke design, working well for the IS300. And of course, all those brands and plenty more available over at fitmentindustries.com. So if you're interested in checking out wheels, tires, or suspension for your IS300, head on over there, check out what wheel and tire packages we have available for you, as well as some suspension. And if you haven't seen the exact fitment that you're looking for, you can also check out the plenty of other IS300s that are in the gallery over at fitmentindustries.com as well. But that's gonna wrap it up for today. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know down in the comments what car you would like to see us cover next. I'm Jels. We'll see you later. Peace.